All righty, everybody. Welcome to Talking Real Estate with Champions Real Estate Team here at Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Ambassador Real Estate Company. My name is Mark Wayner II, team leader here at Champions Real Estate Team. And every Wednesday we jump on around the lunch hour and kind of give you a synopsis of what's happened over the week in the real estate market and here in Omaha and the surrounding areas. And we also have Russ Williams, who joins us most weeks other than when he's closing houses on Wednesday afternoon. But he's with Williams Mortgage. He's a mortgage broker. So we'll chat with him a little bit later about what's going on in the marketplace in the lending industry. So let's jump right into it. Got a couple of slides to share as usual. There we go. So basically, this is the general housing market of what's going on as of this morning. So we have 1,256 active listings that you can go look at. I did pull out the no-show listings. So what that means to the general population are those are listings that are basically on the MLS, but we can't see them. They're not open to the public, but us as agents can see them that they're going to be coming on, down the road. That puts us at about 1,400 and some. But the ones you can actually go sign up, schedule a showing with myself or anyone here at the Champions team to see is we have 1,256 listings in the Omaha Lincoln MLS. Breaking that down as we're obviously in the Omaha marketplace. We have in the Douglas Sarpy County area, we have 572 listings that you're able to go look at today. Breaking that down further, existing homes. Basically, we have 270 homes that you can look at, and then we have 300 new construction listings. So those are ones that are under construction or spec homes, model homes. Months of inventory that we have here, we have about 2 months supply of inventory. So what that means is basically if we don't have any new homes coming on the market as of this point, we'd run out in 2 months. So real big picture of it, when I got my license in 2008, being a fourth generation realtor, kind of been around it all my life. We had about 9 months supply of inventory at that time, and we had about 6,000 homes on the market. So that's a very drastic change from where we're at today. So obviously everything in the real estate market and most markets are cyclical, so they go in cycles. So kind of seeing the other side of the cycle in my real estate career. But average sold price is up about 17% from this time last year. So we'll talk about that, kind of the affordability of homes and with interest rates, as Russ will talk about in a little bit. So, some people are like, well, we're going to wait till next year, or is it too crazy to buy at the top of the market? Well, as of right now, with the supply and demand, the people that bought last year, on average, right now are up 15%, from when they got last year, depending on price point that they got in. And that stuff we can talk in more specifics. If you want to reach out to me, happy to go over all that, do a Zoom meeting with you or just over the phone. But those are some of those things that, you don't wait to buy real estate, you buy real estate and wait. So that's things you hear us, every week we kind of touch on that going through there. So going over specifics, hold on here. Looking at this diagram we usually talk about. So from last week, the last 7 days, we've had 294 new listings. We have had 303 new contracts written, and we've had 450 sold homes on the market. So those numbers are up from last week. So last week we had only about 260 new listings go active, and then we only had about 274. So obviously you've seen the weather's getting nicer. I'm talking to a lot of other agents, and then on our Facebook page for Berkshire Hathaway, we have an agent page, and we see a lot of new coming soons, office exclusive listings of people that are getting ready to list their house. So those are things that we have that network in place that if you are looking for a home, something specific, it might not even be on the market yet, but we may know about it, that it's going to be coming on the market. So give us a holler and we can kind of get you the inside track and kind of play that matchmaker. But we are seeing a lot more homes, which is typical this time of year, going active on the market, here in this March timeframe. But that is something you're thinking about getting your house ready, give us a holler, we can get you going. So it's one of those things, if you even know the prices are high, you might not necessarily just putting the house on the market, we can't just list it at the highest price. If the buyers are very well educated, they've written a couple offers on homes, they know what 300 gets them versus what 275 gets them, or 500 gets them versus 475. And if you're looking as a seller, you still need to make sure that house is in top notch, because if they're paying a little bit more for the home, they want everything done. They don't want to have to do updates. And if they do have to do updates, and that's fine, then it just needs to be priced accordingly. So those are some things that, if you are getting ready to sell your house, so maybe just simple things you can do in the house to help maximize, that appeal to those buyers. So that's things that we're here to help you, coach you with. in that aspect of it. So that's kind of the synopsis of what's gone on in the marketplace here in the last week. We'll jump in with Russ here and touch base with him on what's going on in the market as far as the interest rates. So how things going in your neck of the woods? I know we're all interconnected, I guess, but I'll let you kind of touch on it as that's your area of
Mark,
expertise.
the sun is shining. We're getting rid of all the white stuff, and we'll start to see grass popping through in the next week. And it's a great time to spring into a new home.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. You know, it's kind of interesting. I'm going to dovetail just a moment on something you had pointed out as far as valuations climbing as much as 10% over the last year. Just this week, there was a report that was released by CoreLogic, which is a leading provider of property, mortgage, and consumer data, as well as some analytics. And they had pointed out that 76% of those people who don't own homes aren't looking to buy in 2021 or in the next 6 months. And I think they missed the real point here, Mark, because that means 24% of the people who don't own homes are looking to buy in 2021 or in the next 6 months. And if we were to look at that number nationally, that's somewhere in the range of about 10 million people. Compare that to your point, with inventory nationwide being roughly 1 million, we've got 10 times the demand than we do the inventory of homes available. And we all know that when there's excess demand versus supply, what happens to prices? They're more likely to go up. So we are going to be in a very strong market for a while. We don't have a bubble right now. Affordability still is very strong. Now, as far as interest rates go, week over week, we talked about this last week that we'd seen a little bit of a blip that happened. And I had suggested last week that weekly report that Freddie Mac kicks out that shows the average rate offered by lenders across the country for the prior week. I told our listeners that this week that number is probably closer to 3%. I was a little bit off. It's 2.97. So the numbers for this last 7 days leading up to, what would this be, February 25th, were roughly 2.7%. Now, since last week, we've seen a little bit of volatility, but a little bit of a rebound as well. So I expect next week that number is going to be up over 3%, but still should be very strong. We're sitting, folks, just above all-time lows for mortgage rates. Your borrowing power has never been stronger. And given that it's expected, based upon what I mentioned just a few moments ago, that valuations are likely to rise based upon that tremendous demand for homes out there, there is no better time to buy a house than today. You might well see another 10% in appreciation next year on some price ranges.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, I mean, the real estate market's going to be it is one of the largest drivers of the economy, you know, and as we're coming out of the COVID, the pandemic stuff and trying to get the economy ramped up again, it's just one of those. I'm talking to builders, the demand for new construction is still there, even though lumber's at like historic highs and all that kind of stuff, and labor and the cost to do that. So if new construction, I mean, I think that's one of those things we're seeing is kind of one of the bigger winners. Is the new construction is because there's no inventory out there. So people are going, okay, well, then I'm going to build a house. If I'm going to pay, a premium potentially for an existing home, then I might as well go build what I want, and so that's the thing we're seeing is that a lot of builders are starting to get backlogged, and even just getting their houses done this year, might even be pushing it into 2022. Kind of funny to say, but that's just something to think about. If new construction is an option, let's look into it now, or finding a lot or land or things of that sort of what you're looking for. Happy to do anything with regards to that. So
before the Zoom call, Mark, you and I were talking about inflation. That there are some corners of the talking heads that think we could see some inflation pop up. Folks, that means if we do have inflation, prices are going to drive higher. So you're getting a home at today's price, which is why I think you need to move now. I do think we will see a little bit of inflation, but I can show you statistically, if you really would like to know, why I think that might be a short-lived thing, and based upon the fact that COVID, when it entered the equation last year about this time, really pushed us into a little bit of deflation so that our year-over-year numbers beginning in April and May are going to be looking inflationary, but the real picture might not be that inflation is as serious as what some people think we could have coming.
Yeah. And if we see another stimulus boost, as far as a stimulus check coming out, depending on what that amount is, that could be a good starter for down payment for somebody looking to get into housing. Take that money and put it into an investment that could gain you potentially 10%. I mean, ultimately as real estate agents, we don't have a crystal ball. But then, in the next month or so, you're going to have tax returns as well. So it's kind of one of those things. It's like put something in, invest that money into something that's going to hopefully pay you dividends down the road. And
Absolutely.
then ultimately get into that house, build that equity, and then heck, you can pull some of that equity out and go buy an investment property that's going to, if that investment property is going to appreciate. I mean, it's just kind of a snowball effect on how you can potentially grow your generational wealth, down the road. As my mom and I were talking about that as I was driving into town today, just kind of how can you, we just got a contract on an investment property ourselves. So it's something we're excited about, my first one. So it's something that, we're looking into. So just different avenues of that.
That might be a great topic for next week, Mark. Return on investment with real estate. Stay tuned next week, folks.
Yeah, exactly. So, and another exciting thing we're doing, we're just getting it rolling here. Is every year we've done our Easter egg hunt. We didn't do one last year because it was right in the midst of the whole pandemic of what's going on. So this year we're going to be a little COVID friendly with our Easter egg hunt. It will be March 27th, which is a Saturday from 1 to 3 o'clock. And it'll basically be a drive-through Easter egg hunt at Walnut Grove Park off about 151st and Q Street, where we've done it every other year. I think this would have been our 7th year in a row in that regard. So that'll basically be, we'll have 24, 25 big eggs just around the park, and it's basically one big loop. We'll give you kind of a picture of them so you can drive through with the kiddos. They can find them, kind of like a little scavenger hunt. We'll have the Easter Bunny basically at the pavilion that we usually have our hunt at. If you want to get out, you can take pictures with the Easter Bunny. And if it's nice out, you're welcome to stay and play at the park. But I know some people being, COVID conscious, basically being, the social distancing, that's perfectly fine. I'll leave it up to whatever people are comfortable with. We'll also have Easter basket raffles. We usually pair up with a charity and kind of do some monetary donation or some raffle. But I think with how it's going to be set up this year, we'll probably forego that aspect of it. But we'll just have our normal Easter baskets, and we'll have you just enter your name, address stuff. We'll come drop it off to you after that next day, that Sunday or whatever, draw it out in that regard. So we'll have goodie bags for the kids. So it'll be a lot of fun that you can kind of just basically get out of the house. Obviously, hopefully in a couple of weeks, it'll still be nice out, but we know how that goes. So it's sometimes the middle of March or end of March, April, we're getting a snowstorm. So hopefully that's not the case, but we won't be hiding white Easter eggs, I guess. So if we get those in the snow, it will be very fun. So anyways, Russ, you got anything else to add or?
Good stuff. I'm bullish on housing.
Yeah, right. So, but yeah, if we can help you out at any time, Mark Wayner II here with Champions Real Estate Team at Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, Russ Williams Mortgage can help you out with any, if you're thinking about refinancing or anything like that. So he's got a lot of different product lines to basically help you figure out what the best decision is for you. So, I mean, that's our goal here. A lot of times when we're sitting down talking about it, I just working with a client now, and we're talking about how can we save for your kids' college through real estate. That's something that my wife and I are personally talking about. And so it's something that we're here to help you, be that resource. And if it makes sense, great. If not, we'll put, I gave her contact, to an accountant I work with, financial advisors, things of that sort that we can help you, help build, that generational wealth for you, because time's precious. So why spend it working, right? So spend it with your family. But anyways, appreciate everyone joining us. And if you're watching this at a later date, you can comment either on here, on our LinkedIn, and we'll answer any questions. Feel free to reach out to me, 402-672-7670. And Russ's number here, 290-8936. And we will chat with you guys later. Have a great week and enjoy the weather.